I'm starting to realize that we are soon done. I have seen and heard people telling about very strong emotional experiences. And I have kind of known that there has been no room for that, for me. But it's popping up. But before I let go with that, we have to, of course, end this. And there is absolutely no one better to do the closure and also a kind of a report over these days than the man who has actually done more in this field within psychiatric diagnosis, chemical substances, which is called medication sometimes, than you, Robert Whitaker, who also founded Mad in America, which has become a worldwide network for people with own experience, but also for researchers, practitioners, and from this weekend also for artists and musicians and painters and film directors and all of that. So we are very happy to welcome you now, Bob, to, it's your space now for a while. Welcome.
First of all, I'm extraordinarily humbled to be here at this moment. And I've given many, many talks, and I never get nervous, but I'm very anxious right now because I asked Karina last night, what do you want me to do? And she says, well, why don't you just tell what it was like for 3 days and how it transformed us? And I'm like, okay, I'll tell you in about a month after I process this. Anyway, first of all, feelings. Thank you. I want to thank, and don't clap yet for them, Hannah and Karina, but all of the family care people who are here, foundation people, if they could stand up, including the family home people as well. I think I speak for everyone who wasn't standing up that we all owe you an extraordinary sense of gratitude. This was an extraordinary 3 days, and it was a gift. It was so well done, so well put together. Anyway, it was an extraordinary, extraordinary gift, and it was a transforming 3 days. And when we began this, when we stood up here, I said, I know these 3 days are going to be magical, but I wasn't sure how they would be magical. But they were magical. So you can go now. Get out. So we did have a film festival last year, Mad in America Film Festival. And one of the things when you're the host of the film festival, you're so busy just trying to be the host and making sure things are going right. You really don't get to experience the films in a full-bodied way. So Karina and Hannah go last year, and they left that film festival and saying, oh, we gotta do a film festival in Sweden. And so I knew from that something had happened within them that was quite transforming and moving, and actually much more than I had a chance to feel. So here's my first hope from this film festival, is that someone else in this audience is going, now we have to do a film festival in Norway or Denmark or Spain, and so it spreads this way. So again, starting this 3 days ago, I said, I know there's going to be some magic, and I know there's going to be some magic out there. Last night I'm lying in bed and I'm thinking, well, what was the magic? What was it? What did happen? Because I'm quite sure something magical did happen. And the first thing was this. So I got to just be here and experience the movies and sitting out there. And what I realized is what a gift it is to sit with you all and to share this experience. So we could be individually seeing these movies, but it's not the same thing. There's something about being among people and seeing everyone respond to these movies. It's so powerful. And it was so powerful, like I can remember who I was sitting next to during the different movies because I could see them experiencing the movie. Like at one point I was next to John Reed, and a couple times he let out this little sort of gasp. I heard a little gasp from David Cohen at one point sitting in front of me. And then I sat next to Liv a couple times, Liv from Norway. And she had such a sort of vibrant response. And then this is a non sequitur, but after one movie she brings out a shirt that she shows me and says, "I hear voices, that's why I'm a good listener." Which I thought was beautiful. And so part of it was being part of this collective experience of a group responding to this extraordinary art time and time again. I know when I left the room each time, I was a complete broken record. I left out and I had to blurt out, now what do I do? I'm so exhausted emotionally from responding to these extraordinary stories. And the art here was incredible this weekend. The films were incredible. The music was incredible. It was just amazing to see these different expressions and really stories of humanity. I mean, I was so moved over and over again. I was going to give a quip when I came up. I said I didn't believe in bipolar before I came to this festival, but now I do because my emotions were all over the place. And I was lying in bed last night at 4 o'clock saying, what the heck am I going to say up here? So I had this sense that when you go to a movie theater or you go to classical music or unclassical music or theater, there is this sense that being in an audience is so special and you respond together. But then something else began to happen for me. And I know it happened for you too. You remember Mette's voice? How many of you were here all 3 days? Were most of you here all 3 days? See, this shows how extraordinary this is. You remember Mette's voice? Incredible film, right? And then all of a sudden, Mette appears on the stage. It was unbelievable, right? It was almost like she stepped out of the screen and was here. And that was an extraordinary, magical moment. And then it began happening again and again and again. You know, I don't know, I'm going to get this lost, but then we had, when Daniel was doing the film about Family Care Foundation, and it's Anki, am I pronouncing that right? That Anki came up. And then I was really irritated that Jonas wasn't here. Because I had this sense of like coming to know them, and what I began to feel was, oh, I see what's happening. It's the audience telling the stories. And so the audience is coming up. People weren't coming out from here. They were coming up from the audience themselves. And I realized this is an audience telling story after story. And it was so incredible. So I've said thank you to the Family Care Foundation. I want to say thank you to the audience. It was a real honor to be here with you these 3 days. And, you know, for that reason, there were just so many extraordinary moments, just one after another. Anyway, I could go forward. There were many such moments when people from the audience came out, and I was just overwhelmed. We had so many extraordinary moments like that. And what happened for me is the art kept coming alive. You know, I've been hearing about Barbara Sundin for years from Karina. And next thing you know, I get to see the life, and then she's here. I mean, what a pleasure, and what an incredible experience. So many moments like this, the moments when we had the panel of people telling their stories, of 4 women and the journalist. That was another way that you see that stories are told and, you know, hit you in the heart. And we get to see for me, what was starting to tie together was, of course, not stories of people who in any way have sort of a psychiatric sort of story to them, but just stories of humanity that just touched your heart over and over again. We can never discover this too often. And that is this common humanity that is all of us, and that, you know, we all do struggle. There's people who struggle in different ways. They struggle more deeply sometimes. But, you know, you see in literature stories of people struggling, okay, right? Struggling with their mind, struggling with, you know, being in the world. And for me, it started to feel like a time to live in novels here. I mean that in the best personal way. People are telling these complex, human, moving stories, and it just happened again and again and again. And when I came here today, I said, okay, please, no more. I'm too exhausted. And then you hit us with some more. I just want to say it was magical, transformative, inspiring, exhausting. I'm not going to have any emotions for about a month, I'm just telling you. Anyway, so the biggest thing I wanted to say really to everyone in this room is thank you. Thank you. It was fantastic being here. So I have to tell you one thing with Lucy. Lucy and I were talking between. I said, I never tear up. I just doesn't happen to me. And Lucy goes, go ahead and let it happen. So you have this, you know, you sit here and your heart is ripped open, and then you ask yourself, what am I going to do? And I know every single person out there is asking, what am I going to do? And that's a reason to be inspired. And then someone's going to have a film festival in Madrid next year. And that's going to be spreading this whole thing. And so we just have to keep networking, realizing we're not alone. There is a tribe out there that wants to see things differently, that does see things differently. And for me, this was a chance to be among people, such great people. So thank you.